Aloha! Happy Sunday, all my little children out there, my subscribers, and you looky-loos. All of you guys are looking You're looking better than the last time I saw you. This is amazing. This is really fantastic. Okay, so Uncle Martin said he'd have something really different for you, and here it is Sunday. I gotta pull up, well, I've been thinking of a few different things, but I did say in the past I would bring up big bones. Big bones and DNA. I'm gonna leave nanotechnology for another day. So we'll just say big bones and DNA. And you know, if you're getting big bones, I guess we're gonna have to talk about giants. So Giants will be the thumbnail today. This Happy Sunday will be Giants for the thumbnail. And it'll come full circle. How I'm going to start out with this. I went down the Grand Canyon. I went down 2 times. And as life is, things come in threes. In threes. And I guess I'll have to go down there one more time. So the 2 times I had gone down there, I had heard many interesting stories from the Indians, and well, I guess that would be an episode in itself. The Grand Canyon, but I'm going to just stay with the Giants. I promise. It's coming full circle. I went. There's a mile. It's a mile down in the Grand Canyon, so you're pretty deep into the earth. And by the way, that's where when I say giants, they're giants. People today, there's some folks saying the Giants are. I mean, they're already they're here. The Giants are here, but you don't see them walking around. They're down. They're down in caves. Actually, they're saying they're out in the earth, and we're saying no, the Earth isn't that big to hold giants. The Earth is kids. This planet, terrific or terrible, how you're looking at it, is big enough. I mean, it's not as big as Jupiter, but you know, for what we're on, it's big enough to hold giants. It actually is big enough to hold more people than they're saying it can hold. Yeah, oh yeah, but that would be another topic which I can't go to right now. So we're going with the giants, no matter what anything happens. So I was down there the first time, second time, both times. I guess it came up. But we'll just go with the first time because I don't have very much time with you. The tribe, by the way, when you invite an Indian over for dinner over at the Havasupai Trail, make sure you say, hey, you know, you can come on over and have some dinner with us, and make sure, you know, I'm inviting you. But me and Larry didn't say that. We said, hey, why don't you come on over for dinner? And all 32 Indians, I don't know. They ate up all we invited them to dinner. Said, you know, we're going to be here for 4 days, but you know, we got enough for 4 days, but we got enough for everybody. Ate our food. I had a little bag of rice. I had half a lemon, a little bit of pepper. That's all I had by the time we left to go down to Havasupai Falls. 6 miles is Mooney Falls, and then 6 more miles is Beaver Falls, and then from Beaver Falls is another 6 miles to the Colorado River. Just kind of trying to put a picture on where I heard the story of the giants. Okay, that's all I'm saying. By the way, if you go from the Havasupai Trail all the way up to around to the Bright Angel Trail, it's approximately 50 miles, and some people do the whole thing in one day. All right, I'm just saying, anybody going down the Grand Canyon, it's fantastic because there's stuff in the Grand Canyon that there's nowhere else in this planet. Terrific. And I'm going to stay with terrific from now on, as long as I can. Even though some people, it's terrible. No, it's terrific. This planet is terrific, kids. No matter what anybody says. If they say it's terrible, by the way, kids, these people are just a little more negative, and they just have more things to learn. That's all it is to it. So the story went, oh man, they told so many stories, but I can't tell. I got to stay with the giants. The one main guy, we'll call him Billy. It was Billy that said, there was giants here at one time. And this is me in 1976, 77, 1977. It was after I came back from the spiritual Indian hot springs, nudist community that I lived in with just a staff, a blanket, and I went out to the cave. Anybody that's coming in late, just put it on the back shelf. That's pretty interesting stuff, and I didn't even get in any of it, so don't worry about it. You're not missing too much. So Billy was saying how there was giants here at one time, and me, I'm thinking giants, yeah, yeah, right, giants. But these guys, they had interesting stories, so I was listening with an open mind, and I just put it on the back shelf. That's all I did. So Billy says, yeah, there was giants here, and they were. He said they were down that way over there, and they were big. They were really big, and they had beards. They had red beards, long red hair, and there was families of these giants that used to live here, down here where we are now. I said, oh really? Yeah. Have another. Let's pass that peace pipe. Hey, who's over there not passing that peace pipe? So I was like, one of those kind of little. We were in a circle doing peace pipe, and which I thought was positive at the time. I engaged in that for until I had to, until I didn't have to anymore, and then because I saw now that it's negative, but I didn't know it was negative. I thought it was positive. So whatever you do, kids, no matter, hopefully if it's positive, you're doing it 100%. If it's negative and you're doing it 100%, and you know about it, yeah, well, you got to do it until you stop doing it, whatever it is, whatever fixation or whatever you're bringing on yourself. Hopefully, with thought, you can say, well, maybe I'm doing this, but someday I'm not going to do it anymore. That's at least a foundation to work upon, rather than not thinking that way. I'll go into that some other time. We're staying with the giants. The giants that were running around, they said they didn't see them, but their forefathers did see them, and they were friends. They didn't talk about any negative things like it did in the past episodes where giants tended to eat people. I mean, in the beginning, everybody was friends. They were all friends until the food ran out. Then it got negative. I'm sorry. That's not even cosmic humor, because eating other people is always negative, by the way. It's a very negative thing to eat other people. We all know that, but I believe there are still places on this planet that they might, even though it's against the law, they still do it. And that's some pretty heavy karma, by the way. And it's negative stuff. We won't go any further into that. These giants that were around and all that, I said, bah, yeah, okay, fine. And I just put it on the back shelf until I brought it down, which was about 2000, it was 1977, 2006. I said, I wonder if those Indians were talking anything, blah. So I Googled the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon, giants of the Grand Canyon. I Googled. And you know what I got? You know what I got from them? There was actually a guy, he was from, well, let's see where he was from. I believe he's from the Smithsonian Institute, from what I remember reading, that this guy's name was Hubbard. No, not that other Hubbard fellow that pretty much is well known, but this guy, I think it could have been Samuel Hubbard. Don't put me on the names. The names are so tough on Uncle Martin sometimes. Faces I got a really good memory on. But I'll tell you, this guy Hubbard was in archaeology. He was in archaeology, and he got into one of the caves, one of the Indian caves, and he found two sarcophaguses. One was 18 foot, one was about 22 feet. And inside the sarcophaguses were giants. The giants that been talking about, red-haired guys that every Indian seems to be having redheaded giants in their stories. It seems like, as I looked into it, that seems to be the course. And what Hubbard found was one was a male, one was a female, and he took them wherever he took them. He also found down further where the water was sandstone water, footprints of giant footprints. Not only giant footprints, but little baby footprints. There was a family of giants down the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So that's just one of the stories of countless stories of giants that have been here for a very long time. And as we well know, when Bella, the gal that gave me my reading, I came out from a distance, and when I got here, Uncle Martin was a giant. I was wondering maybe I had a relations or something here. But apparently, if you look biblically, giants were not very positive people. They were pretty much working on the left side, the negative side. And I would say maybe that's why we've been here so long, that we had things to learn. We had to learn things, and now Uncle Martin is at a point where I really feel that I'm going for the positive here. No matter what anybody's saying out there, I'm going for the positive. So we always get a choice, kids, if we're going to go positive or negative. And when we understand the karma of things that we do, when we start saying things, we start doing things, we start thinking things, when we think about the karmic action that comes back to us tenfold, that's when we really realize that maybe we should be doing some more positive things than negative. And sometimes people don't even care, even when they know about it. They've discerned it to be negative, but they're making all the money, they're making a lot of things, obviously, but it's going to be only physical things, and they're forgetting about the spiritual things that we should maybe think about happening, or maybe not. So the big bones of the giants that were being found right now, that nobody wants to talk about, they take a picture and all of a sudden you see it for a little bit and then it's gone. As I was saying in the past, 30s and 50s, about in the 50s. In the 50s, that's when all the bones were disappearing. All the big bones were going somewhere. We don't know where they went. Maybe they, and it wasn't a big dog. I'm going to have to say it, guys. I think it was the Smithsonian Institute. Whoever they are, you know who you are. You got a bunch of bones. What are you doing with those bones? You going to make some soup? No. I think they've got plans. That's why Uncle Martin's saying, in the future, I got dibs on this. When you start seeing a 52-foot giant walking around, you go, hey, maybe Uncle Martin had something there. When we get into DNA, we get into cloning. We have a clone. What was her name? Dolly, the sheep Dolly. 1996, July 5th. I remember the number. That is correct. 1996, July 5th, Dolly was born. She was a clone. Dolly lived 6.5 years, and she had some offspring. I'm still trying to find out how they really turned out. Believe it was all normal. Yeah, all normal. So we got clones that we know about. We know about splicing stem cells. Stem cells are rocketing, kids. We can get off of our arm some cells, people having heart problems, and these stem cells can be now grown to where they can replenish the heart and different organs that are now being, they're not working as positively as they should be. The stem cell research now that we have right now, this very moment that I'm speaking from right now, this time period, They have gone to where you don't have to use like a pig's heart. Yeah, they were using different parts of the animals for people to stay longer. And by the way, I believe the percentage is something like 25-30% that people are waiting for organs. They're not making it. These 25-30% of the people they're going to the next level. So now the research is really going to where a lot more people are hanging. In fact, that's what I'm saying. Didn't want to bring it up, but I guess I have to. They're taking parts from people that are in jail in China. And nobody's talking about it, so that's why Uncle Martin's going to bring this up right now. I think China's doing some really negative things. People that are in jail in China are coming out with not all of their body parts, and that is very negative when you take something from someone else that doesn't belong to you. Kids, you know about that, these past episodes, and it doesn't stop here on this planet. People will always try to take something from you. And I feel China should know that this is very negative. And I feel the United States, I believe it's a mute. Moot or mute? Moot or mute? Means silent. We're being silent on this, and I think some people should step up in the, well, I would say people that are in charge of our government should be standing up right now and saying, this is very negative for this to be happening over in China. That's all Uncle Martin will say about that right now. So that's all I'll say. We're going back to the Giants, I promise, kids. So we have cartridge, we got bones all over the planet that are being found. A lot of the stories that I recall that the Giants that apparently they were getting beheaded, and how we know this is because in the road system 1945, in the 45 when we were doing that big road going in Alaska, our I believe it was the Army that was doing paving the roads. They were coming across skulls, big heads, and they had 2 rows of teeth, and they were all just the heads. So we don't know what happened to the bones, but the heads had 2 rows of teeth, and they were finding them everywhere on the roads. So we got that information, and then we have Catalina Islands. They found caves that big heads with double rows of teeth were in these caves. Now I don't know what happened to the rest of the bones, but there was definitely the heads there, and next to the heads were different types of bones. So this goes back quite a distance in time because there was a saber-toothed tiger bones, there was a woolly mammoth bones, and there was human bones. So these double rows of teeth apparently matched the bones. So we know for a fact that these giants have been eating a lot of different things. Their taste had changed to different types of tastes, that's all. We know now that we are doing a lot of things. We're merging animals. We're merging animals from one strain of animal to another strain of animal. We are doing things, kids, that I'll have to have Atlantis come in, but that'd be another episode. The Atlanteans, what they were doing. We have mythology on it. That's all we got. We don't have any proof about half man, half bird. We do have the Minotaur, head of a bull, the rest of the body. Then we have Pan, little piper guy who was, face and arms, but the rest were like a goat. He was mischievous. We have all this mythology stuff, but it's not too far-fetched when you start looking at what we're doing right now. That's all Uncle Martin's saying. That I feel it might be going down a negative path rather than a positive path, even though people are saying that it is a positive path, that we start merging human DNA with animal human DNA, because it will help the world on all the diseases. These people I want to take a good look at, because I believe it's the same people that said the GMOs that we will feed the people, and we already know how the GMOs are working, kids, don't we? If you don't already know, it's not a very good thing. It's not very positive. The GMOs is the animals that have been eating it and didn't come out too positive, and now they're feeding it to the people because it'll feed the people all over the world. These people, I hope they're not doing it on purpose, Maybe it's just that they're thinking it's positive and they didn't realize it's negative. Hopefully, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be optimistic that that's what it is. But we already know that there's a mixture. It's a liger. A liger is a lion and a tiger. We've already got these guys walking around. We've got the Donka, the Donkra, Donka. Donka is a tribe in Africa. And so there's the Donkra, which is the donkey and the zebra. We got the Coma. Coma is a camel and a llama. We got hybrid animals that are now being made out of the human DNA structure. We haven't heard too much about them yet. As soon as they break out of the cage, I'm sure we're on a need-to-know basis, and maybe we'll get to know about it, maybe we won't. Hard to say. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing with the DNA that I'm feeling is really kind of negative. When you get a spider, I believe they've gotten this. We're about right there now. The spider and the goat. What do you get when you mix a spider and a goat? Well, that sounds like a pretty funny joke, doesn't it? But no, they've got the DNA of a spider and they're doing it with the goat, to where now the goat, the milk of the goat, because we know that the spider is the strongest silk to known of mankind. This string of a spider, when it's is very strong. So the spider and the goat, they've made some stuff apparently that the milk that they strain it out of the milk, the spider web, it can now do things for the jaw, rebuilding the jaw, bone, the bulletproof vest, and the airbag. It's going to be a lot softer for you and more stronger. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? That they're doing that. And these are things that have popped out as something they're working on. These people are working on a lot of things. Like, it's the UK. I remember the UK. The UK was like 2008. They were begging for more money, because at that time they had 92 animals that they were mix-matching to. And we didn't hear what exactly they were. We heard the other ones that I just spoke of, but they had 92 that they were bragging about, that it's going to save the planet. It's going to be the best thing in the world when we start mixing, matching these things around, because then we'll be able to use these different parts for the body, and you'll be able to live so much longer, and you'll be so much stronger by doing these things. Yeah, well, Jiminy Crickets. So now that's what I'm saying. The three colleges that were universities that were begging for more money. They didn't have enough money. They want more money, and that was in 2008. And now I don't hear anybody begging for money. Apparently, they got all enough money, because now we have over 150 animals that they've worked on. And I'm not hearing too much chit-chat about it. It's kind of a quieting thing. I do know I had a last episode when Dad made us stop watching cartoons. PBS had that little mouse, a little white mouse running around. That was like in 1966. I remember it well. My second, fifth grade, I believe. So it was this little mouse running around, and he had a nose on his side. Now I know that they've got these mice now that have an ear on their side. So they're doing things with mice that they're growing things on the mice for people to get to put a nose or an ear on. The giants go back to the time of Enoch, which apparently was in the Bible at one time and then it was taken out. Okay. For whatever reason. Was it just a coincidence, is what Uncle Martin's saying. Enoch has a book out and that you can still find it. The Ethiopian one is the one I would suggest. I find it also very interesting that in the 30s, there was a fellow named Hitler, and he was really negative. He was a very negative individual. And some people say he was a black magician. But I can't go there right now on that topic because, well, witches, warlocks, and black magicians. I guess I'll have to bring them in someday because, well, I know it's a touchy topic. You know how I feel about touchy topics. That Uncle Martin will never go on touchy topics. But I brought them up, so just put it on the back shelf. It is known that Hitler did a lot of burning of books. Okay, they had big piles of books. In fact, you can Google all the big book burnings that they had back then. And what was the top 10? Well, what was the top one that book had to be? It was the book of Enoch. That book was real. They wanted to burn that one. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just a coincidence that when you're in jail, you can't get the book of Enoch. Yeah, did you know that? They won't let you read the book of Enoch in jail. Well, not in the jail that I was at. Did I say Uncle Martin went to jail? Well, maybe. When you go to jail, you usually get caught. In Uncle Martin's case, I fessed up and I said, well, yeah, I did something negative. Sure. And Mom and Dad say, no, we'll take a loan out on the house. And you don't have to do that. And I said, but I did what I did. And I want to stand, I'm going to put myself on the mercy of the court. Yeah. Well, yes, Uncle Martin went to jail, but it was only because he stood up for what he believed in, to tell the truth, okay? And sometimes doing that, you might go to jail. I know there's a lot of people doing things and they're not going to jail, but that's their karma, and I could care less because it all comes back to you. So Dad even said, no, I don't want you to. We're going to take a loan out on the house. I said, Dad, don't worry about it. He says, no, I was in jail one day, and I said, you shouldn't go there. And I said, no, Dad, really, it's going to be okay. And so I'm going to tell you what, kids. That's going to be an episode of, it'll be just under, I don't know when it's going to be, but it'll be jail. The thumbnail will be jail, and that will be my experiences that I had with the understandings that I had, how Uncle Martin got through jail. And it has to do with fear and stuff like that, We brought up fear so many times, so it'll be perfect. It'll be perfect for anybody that, might be interested in that. I promise that I'm getting back to these giants. So we got Enoch talking about the giants, so many places in that. We have biblically, I know a lot of people don't like the Bible, It has some really good information, positive information, and negative information. But it's just for you to discern what is positive, what is negative, as we go into life to what is positive, what is negative. It was Genesis 6:1. Genesis 6:4. Genesis 6:4. It brings Nephilim. Nephilim's only said 3 times in the Bible. And I believe it was around Genesis 4. It was the flood. The flood period. So we have Zechariah Sitchin. He's talking about the Anunnaki. They were giants. Biblically, the Rephaim were giants. The Nephilim were giants. I guess back when Bella started with me, I was a giant, but I learned my lesson. I lorded my big strength over people, and I had power and strength. And what did I learn? That the little Putians, they pulled me down, but they let me live. That was a positive thing. So I'm just saying, I didn't hear many positive stories about giants, other than, I guess that one down the Grand Canyon. They said that they all got along. Nobody was eating each other. So it can happen, positive or negative, on anything we do, right? The giants I feel that the bones of these giants, with all the DNA and the things that they're doing, we're going to end up seeing big 52-foot giants down the road here. It's got to be. What are they doing with these bones? And what are we doing with our DNA? We're mixing things with animals, and I feel with bone marrow from big giants. I can't prove it yet because we haven't really seen them. Actually, there is things in England that they cited 17 to 22 foot guys, three guys. A big crowd of people saw them in England, and all of a sudden, I mean, they were running after them and they were gone. Well, us running after a giant, forget about it. They're going to be able to get wherever. I was wondering if they went down into caves. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of them are apparently are being seen more and more and more because the rising, well, they're not talking about the sea level rising a little bit and the water level dropping a little bit. So maybe the water that's dropping a little bit, these guys that are down in the earth have to come back out, you know? That could be it. That's why maybe there's more sightings. Or hopefully they're not hungry. We have things that are going on here that nobody's talking about. These bones, where are they going? What are they doing with them? Are they really doing anything with them? Or is it just keeping them? Because in the 30s and 50s, they were all over the place. And now they're all gone. Out of the museums, you can't find them anymore. I believe, well, maybe it's just a coincidence that they're disappearing. That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting things out for you kids to put on the back shelf. When you hear about giants, I mean, giants have always been portrayed as stupid. You know, Jack the Giant Killer, that little funny little movie, you know, blah, 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 fee fi fo fum. Well, actually, they did say fee fi fo fum. They smelt something, and then they were going to grind somebody's bones to make their bread or something like that. I don't know. It was very negative poem. But people remember poems, and it comes forward to where were there giants that were making flour, you know? I don't know. How'd they get the flour? Were they growing wheat? I'm just trying to keep some kind of cosmic humor on these bones, but it's really tough when you get into giants, you know? Are they really positive or are they negative? Well, we'll have to see, won't we? When they start popping up all over, we'll see if they're going to be positive or negative. And I wouldn't be following any giants anywhere either, by the way, when they do pop up. Because, well, I believe they're going to be, I don't know. Would they be positive or negative? That's where our discernment would have to come in. Would you just follow someone because they're saying they're able to do things? Well, a lot of people, I believe, will down the road. There'll be miraculous things happening, and the big throngs of people will just go to that direction. And that's what happens. We have to have discernment on what is positive, what is negative, what is the intent. Is the intent positive? We have this every day, kids. Should you go over and take that kid's candy, which is negative? Should you take the bicycle? Negative. Should you share your bicycle? Let people, well, be careful on who you let ride your bicycle. But we're going to have a test every day, kids, on what we're going to choose. And hopefully it's going to be positive. And even if it's negative, you're going to learn by it, hopefully. And that will be the discernment. And again, as I said in the past, there's going to be people here that are just never going to be able to discern. But I say, you kids, your parents, your guardians, everyone that's left listening, you looky-loos, I'm pretty proud of you, that are left, we all have discernment at this point, I feel. More and more discernment. And that's because the truth is coming out more and more. Which, hopefully, people will be able to say what they're doing in China is very negative. Maybe somebody now can maybe stand up and say, hey, let's make a law that we don't do that anymore. We don't take parts from other people. Heck, we got enough stem cell research right now. You should be able to do it with that. Not go and take something from someone else, which we know is very negative. So I touched upon big bones and giants just a little bit because this this genetic engineering is what I've been talking about. Didn't say it. I feel to be very negative and not positive. Everyone's saying it's going to be positive. This genetic engineering, this cloning that's going on, is going to be positive for everyone. Uncle Martin's saying it doesn't sound too positive to him, and maybe people, whoever's listening, might check into it a little more and see the outcome. It was not very positive. It was negative for Atlantis. And I'm saying we're coming back to the same stuff Atlantis did, and you would think you would have learned back then, but sometimes it takes a while for man to learn his lessons, that's all. And hopefully enough people are listening to Uncle Martin to say, hey, maybe this guy's got something here. Maybe we shouldn't be mixing human DNA with animal DNA, which I say is very negative. Okay, so until we see each other again, I gotta say to everybody, you are looking well. And I will say next Sunday will even be better, more positive than this one, even though I think it was pretty positive that we got this out on the table. That's all. We got something out on the table to look at, just to look at. It's a possibility. There was giants. Oh, there's no giants. There was giants. There was giants. And Uncle Martin's learned his lesson, that's for sure. You know, sometimes it takes a long time to learn your lessons, kids. Sometimes quite a few past lives it takes. That's why there is past lives. There's past lives because you don't learn everything in one life. Let me tell you. There's a lot to learn here on this planet Terrific that we're gonna graduate from. I'm telling you, we will. Someday. So, until we see each other again, which will be next Sunday, Okay, next Sunday will be on flying. A person that was notably known to be flying. And it wasn't Superman. Although someone would say that had to be Superman, but nope. It was a guy flying. And it has to do with, I guess, witches, warlocks, and black magicians. Can't leave those guys out. I know everybody's saying you're negative, all right? All Uncle Martin's saying to that is, you just have a little bit more to learn. And I'm not judging anybody, and you'll never hear Uncle Martin judge anyone. That's a guarantee. Cajun good. I love that cook. Where the heck is he? Anyway, until we see each other again, be well. Aloha. Till next Sunday.